Hey, student ministry team. It's Monday afternoon, and I'm just firing this video off to prep us for our meeting tomorrow night, our Skype call. Um, I don't know how you're feeling. I was super encouraged by our time at the round table yesterday. It was a huge blessing. I think there was about 40 students and leaders in that room. That was really, really cool. A lot of energy. I was also encouraged. My intent was not that we'd come away with one or two new, fresh ideas, but my hope was that what would happen was that the students would come away envisioned and encouraged that the student ministry really is theirs, it's not ours. And I hope that that's what they left with. I want to say that a couple of things we need to do with that meeting. Number one is tomorrow night we need to talk about some of your takeaways, some of the things that you learned from that meeting. The second thing is we need some communication to go out ASAP to all the students who came. So maybe tomorrow night somebody needs to take that on and make sure that that happens. It's important that we strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. So the students came, they got to speak into the student ministry in their future. I think it'd be really, really important for us to get communication out, thanking them for coming and letting them know that we're moving on some of these things and to be looking forward to that. The third thing that needs to happen is we need to get the students who seemed interested in speaking up, having some sort of leadership responsibility. We need to get them in a room in the next week to 10 days. And it doesn't require all the leaders. I'm totally okay with Christy. Christy, you are the student leadership initiative person. It would be fantastic with me, I'm sure the rest of the team, if you just got them in a room. Even if you can't get all of them, get the majority of them in a room and share with them, have them start to process through that huge list of ideas that they had. I think my guess is there's probably 20, 24 ideas that they came up with, things they want to do. Help them hone it down to a few things that they really want to see happen. And I think it's so super important to get them in a room and start getting them thinking. So tomorrow night, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about your takeaways from the pizza time. The second thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about scoreboard. So I mentioned that last week. In fact, while we were talking, Chris found a great example online of another church's use of a scoreboard. The purpose of the scoreboard is for you guys, this student ministry team, to have a tool to evaluate your progress toward your WIG. And so that means probably twice a month at the minimum, your team needs to be looking at your scoreboard. And the scoreboard needs to be populated by things that you are measuring that you believe in. So I'm not going to tell you what to measure. I'll give you a couple suggestions. Your scoreboard should reflect the things that you've said are important. So certainly attendance at youth events, since that's a big deal, that needs to be on the scoreboard. You talked about connection, students feeling connected. There needs to be some sort of measurement, and I wouldn't overthink it, but it needs to be brainstormed a little tomorrow. What are you going to use to measure if students are feeling or getting connected? You're going to want to have some sort of measurement about outreach. How do we measure outreach? And are we doing an effective job of getting new students to come? I think some sort of measurement about fun. Those sort of things. You're going to need probably 3 to 5 things that you measure that are easy to keep track of and that you can look at least twice a month. So that's what we're going to try to do. I don't want us to overthink it and spend months figuring this out. I think we need to get something in place and do it quickly. So we'll talk about that tomorrow night. And the third thing that we're going to talk about tomorrow night is we're going to talk a little bit about that's 2 things. I think that's probably enough. Why don't we do this? Why don't we postpone to the following week talking about your initiatives? So each one of you took on an initiative. It's not a long-term role, it's a short-term role. You're going to present an idea for the team to talk about and digest and wrestle with regarding student leadership, spiritual depth, fun, and communication. So I think we should postpone that till the 7th of March. And here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to write it down, get it on a document, something that you can share. It can be via email, it can be a Google Doc, something that you can send out just prior to the meeting so that the whole meeting is not used to describe your idea. Rather, you can just highlight what you've already documented, and then we can begin talking about that. I know that's coming up. We have to make some decisions about the summer. And so we're going to talk about that 2 weeks out. We're going to talk about parameters for outreach events and parameters for retreats and those sort of things. With that, I asked Christy to start presenting to us a potential year-long rhythm for student ministry. Discovery has a year-long rhythm. It guides our planning. And I think it will help you a ton determine when's the best time to do a retreat, camp out, outreach events. It's my conviction that there should be a starting point in every year for a ministry, a time where you see it. This is our launch time, and we're going to put the bulk of our energy during launch time, the bulk of our energy into reaching out. And then we're going to move, secondly, into a stage where we spend the bulk of our energy into helping people connect. And then we're going to shift and move the bulk of our energy into discipling. And then finally, we're going to move the bulk of our energy in the last stage of the calendar year or rhythm of the year, helping people move into ministry. And we do that as a church. It guides all of our planning. And as a student ministry, it should guide all of your planning as well. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't do ministry when we're focused on reaching out, or we don't help people connect when we're focused on discipleship. It's just that there are natural seasons throughout the year where these things make the most sense. And there's times in the year where you're going to have more students that are going to want to get connected in the ministry than at other times. There's times that it's just not normal or natural for a bunch of people to come and try something out. And there are times it's more natural. So I've asked her on the 7th of March to present that to us, just to get the ball rolling. And then I want this whole team to agree on this. So that's the stuff that's coming up. I know we have a lot of stuff to do, and I think we're making some good progress. So anyway, hope this helps. Check out the student ministry WIG document, add any notes that you want to it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.